When people talk about starting over, it can sound quite dramatic, like everything's completely falling apart, or like suddenly everything is magically getting better. But the truth is, most of life happens somewhere in the middle. And that's really where I am now. My van is basically finished, apart from a couple of little tiny bits. And for the first time in ages, I feel like I'm finally at the point where I can actually start travelling properly. I've got an appointment booked with the dentist to start looking at sorting my teeth out. And that's a huge step for me because I am absolutely petrified of dentists. But it's more than just my teeth. It's about my confidence, my self-worth, and starting to properly take care of myself again. Because I'm not going to lie, I have seriously neglected my own personal health. I've neglected my body. And that has to stop. That has to change. In some ways, things are moving forward, and I'm grateful for that. But at the same time, I'm still very much in that in-between stage of life where things are better than they were, but not quite where I want them to be. So at the moment, I'm trying to focus on my work, which brings in my money. I'm focusing on building something more stable income-wise, and also on creating a life that actually feels sustainable to me. Not just surviving from one thing to the next, but properly building something that I'm proud of. And I am proud of my home. I mean, to all intents and purposes, apart from a couple of things, I've built this entirely on my own. I am really proud of what I've built here. It's very much like all vans, a work in progress. I think I heard someone once say that a van is never actually finished. And that is true. There is always a little tweak, a little extra, or a little thing that you want to move or change, or it's never finished. But it's finished enough for me to drive off and start actually traveling and actually getting things done. So I think it matters a lot because most people only show one extreme or the other. They either show the total breakdown of their life or they show the polished, finished version. But this bit for me is the middle. This is the real part. This is where the actual life change happens. This is where you really find out who you are. It's about building new routines, new habits, which for those of you with ADHD will know is incredibly hard to do. Because even if you do the same thing day in, day out, for the so-called 21 days it takes to form a new habit, if you then don't do it on the 22nd day, that's it, it's over. You've lost the entire thing and you have to start all over again because you will forget about it if you don't do it every single day. And you can't expect your brain, this is for ADHD folks, you can't expect your brain to form that habit after 21 days. I'm afraid with ADHD it takes a lot longer than 21 days. So it's about building routines that help you rather than hinder you. It's about figuring out who you are, not who you thought you was going to be or who you think you should be. It's about stopping that comparison, because comparison can steal your entire life off of you if you're not careful. So don't look at other people's perfect life and think, oh my God, I should be there right now. I should have this. Why aren't I there? That's not their real life. They're not showing you how they got there. They're not showing you what really goes on behind the scenes. They're showing you the polished version. And that's not a true sense of their life. So you need to stop comparing yourself to other people and stop thinking you're not far enough and along as you would like to be. Take your time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You need to really figure out who you are. I'm especially talking to women now. Those of you going through the menopause or having been through the menopause, if you're anything like I should say, you will have lost your entire persona. You will have lost everything in what feels like an overnight thing. One day your mum, sister, wife, daughter, whatever. The next minute you don't know who you are. For me, I lost the ability to mask. I didn't realise I was masking, but I lost the ability to mask. And suddenly had this barrage of, not only did I have menopause fog, the brain fog you get with menopause, and hot flushes, and my hormones were going absolutely crazy. I was up and down like worse than being pregnant. But also I found out I had ADHD first, and that was a huge light bulb moment, don't get me wrong, but it was also a big, like a huge change. I sat there and literally wept, thinking, had I known about this 10, 20, 30 years beforehand, what could my life have actually been like if I'd known I had ADHD? And then to also find out I was autistic, that's when the alarm bells really started ringing. It was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. So that's why I do this and that's why I do that. But you also grieve a part of you that you never had a chance to become, because you didn't know you had these disabilities. I'm going to say they're disabilities because, because they are really disabilities. You can make them work in your favour, but again, that takes time and effort. But now I'm kind of like having to learn how to balance those two. So on the one hand, I've got the ADHD side that wants to do this, this, and this, and I've got the autistic side that does not want to do that and wants to do this, this, and this. And they're constantly arguing with each other. So you end up getting nothing done. You end up like paralysed and procrastinating. And that is so frustrating. So, and then when you add into the mix fibromyalgia, which I was diagnosed with when I was 24, it's like now I can't even do the things I want to do half the time because my body just says no. Now, I'm a firm believer in the fact that if you push your body too hard for too long, it will retaliate. And I do believe that's what fibro is. It's a retaliation of my body. And as such, one of the things I'm hoping by starting a new life and actually physically taking care of myself properly, eating the right foods, resting when needed, etc., etc., I'm hoping that this will ease my fibro, because it is very depressing when you've got, like today, a brilliant sunny day. There's things I would have loved to have got done today, but instead I've been stuck indoors all day because my body has been in so much pain and I've been so tired and absolutely physically exhausted. Yeah, I slept really well last night, but I've been so tired and I've not been able to do anything. And the old version of me would have been kicking myself and treating myself like absolute dirt. The negative self-talk that would have been going on, I can't even begin to explain. But now I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm not so stressed about that. I realise my body needs a rest. It's not that I've overexerted myself, because I haven't, but it's just how life is. Some days I need to rest and other days I can do things. And I've got to accept that on those rest days, I can't push my body. I can, however, push my mind. So on those days, like today, recording videos, I've been doing some editing, I've been doing some work on a client's website. I can do mental things on the days I can't do the physical things. So it's about creating a balance in my life going forwards. And instead of pushing myself to do all of the things all of the time, it's about picking and choosing what things I give my energy to, so that I don't end up in a situation like I was a couple of weeks ago, where I'd pushed myself 3 days in a row and ended up on the bed for the next 4 days recovering. Because when you live in a van, okay, at the moment I'm okay. I'm staying at my friend's place because I'm cat sitting. But when I go back onto the road next week, I can't push myself that hard, because I won't be able to park up somewhere and rest in bed for 4 days in a row. So for me, it's about trying to build, it's about balancing act. So it's about creating a balance between what you physically can do and what you physically can't do. So if your life feels a bit like that too, a bit unfinished, a bit uncertain, like a work in progress, you're not alone. This is what my life looks like right now. It's not perfect, it's not finished, but it is moving forwards. And for now, that's enough.